PR Connections Radio presents.
Hello there, this is Jesse Oakley III, and this is a Sunday morning chat series where I get a chance to interview a plethora of positive people making a big difference in their community, whether it is authors, musicians, speakers, people that serve the community, you name it, you'll see it right here on the Sunday morning chat series with Jesse Oakley III. And I got a show for you. We're going to learn something about I believe it's called Enneagram, and we have a person who is definitely a pro when it comes to this topic of Enneagram. And I'd like to welcome this lovely lady, Ashley, to the show. Ashley, welcome to the Sunday morning chat series.
Hi, Jesse. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. And again, I just look forward to this because it's going to be an in type of volunteer type of stuff. And I just can't wait to see about personalities and Enneagrams. And I don't know about you, but this is going to be very awesome. And are you ready, Ashley?
I am. Thank you.
All right. So without any further delay, let's chat. All right. The first question I have for you, Ashley, is I hear so much about Enneagrams and different social medias. And could you explain to the happy people out there, what is Enneagram?
Well, Jesse, let's look at the word Enneagram. If you know your Greek, Ennea means, any guesses? Kind of putting you on the spot there.
Actually, no type of guess. No type of guess at all.
No worries. It's 9. That's what Ennea means.
Oh.
So there's like 9 basic personality types. And then Gram, we all know Instagram, so that means picture.
All right.
Yeah, so it's like a psychoanalysis tool for uncovering your mommy and daddy issues to work on your inner childhood wound. Really deep stuff.
All right. I tell you what, this is going to be very interesting, especially talking about Enneagram. And my next question for you is, how long have you been involved with this Enneagram?
You know, it's really what you put into it to really get a lot of meat. There's so many different facets of it. I have to say, I was lost myself when I like to say I had a career divorce. So when I wasn't in a good place at all, my headspace, I just felt really lost. I was able to find the Enneagram maybe 4 years ago, and it really just shed light on just who I am in my essence, outside of how I was conditioned. It just gets people back to who they were meant to be, who they were when they were born, before all the conditioning of their parents and demands of the social environment.
Wow, that is very interesting to get a chance to go through that, especially with what you've been through. And I'm very interested in knowing about more Enneagram on myself, and that's going to be very, very interesting. Now, could you give me a description about how the personalities that have been involved in Enneagram?
Yes. Well, we could break it down into 9 basic types, but to simplify it even more, I'm going to break down into the 3 triads. So we've got people who are actually driven by shame. That is their deepest fear. It's their core motivator.
Okay.
And then we've got people who are driven by anxiety, how to navigate this dangerous and unpredictable world.
Right.
And then people motivated actually by rage, if it may be repressed even, how to assert their individuality when this world is just telling you who to be. But back to shame, actually, these are the people who are just trying to measure up to other people's expectations of them. Okay. And I feel like a lot of Toastmasters and our culture is the status seeker type, just trying to prove themselves, trying to prove that they're not worthless people. They're people of value.
Right. I tell you, that is very interesting. And you talked about that with the chart. And my next thing is, would you please to show us how one can find their personalities on Enneagram?
Yes, that's a great question. You're trying to figure out which one is your best fit type. I'll tell you that you'll know that you found the truth, the accuracy, when you feel embarrassed and exposed and your inner circle is laughing because they know that they're describing you. They're describing you when you're having everyday stress. For example, the status seeker, which I feel is many Toastmasters, we like to self-promote, we like to show off, we like the spotlight. What you want to do to really get to know which type you are is to study all the 9 different types. Like here we have the archetypes, and if you feel it describes you, then that may be your type. And then 2 more steps beyond that, there's the childhood message, the childhood wound, and also the childhood experience of what it was like to be with your mother and your father figures growing up.
Right. Now, this is interesting. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put myself out there, and I was wondering if you could have a certain type of test that you could put on me to find out where do I fit in this Enneagram program.
That's right. Rather than so much maybe a test or an assessment, let me see. Now, if I throw out this childhood message, Jesse, you are loved for who you are without needing to perform. How does that make you feel?
Oh, that makes me feel loved right here in my heart. I feel it right in this center right here.
Right. Exactly. And if you might be open, what was your relationship like with your mom and dad?
And my mom and dad's relationship, as a matter of fact, rest their souls. Love you, mom and dad. But I can tell you right now that my mom and dad, the relationship has been pretty decent. And in a matter of fact, they've always been the type of parents that want to look out for their children and their sons. And they definitely want to look out for me and make sure that I have a very decent life and a very decent headset. Because the reason why I say this is because they are the parents that I am very proud to actually have, because they're always ones that are looking out for me, making sure that I'm here and there, and making sure that I'm okay, and making sure I have a pretty good future.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was unclear with my question. What was your relationship like with your father, and what was your relationship like with your mother?
With my father, it's been pretty good. He's been known for to be in the wisdom, and with my mother, it's been pretty good as well, because I do know that she's pretty fantastic. I'll say that.
Hmm. Can you describe your most fond memories with each of them?
Oh my goodness, my most fond each memories of them. With my dad, I love spending time. I love going back and forth with him as when I was a little kid, and basically having time to play with each other. Despite the fact that he was in the Navy, and we get some time off in the Navy, he always have a chance to talk back and forth with each other, and actually go to the playground where we get a chance to not only play ball with each other, but also get a chance to have those father-son discussions. Now, that's what I do love about that. Now, with my mom, I could tell you right now that my mom's relationship always happens to be within the stomach, with the food. And both are great cooks, both are great chefs. But my mom, she's from Virginia. She has that down home cooking down pat. She likes to cook chicken. She likes to cook greens. And I'll tell you what, she also cooks chitlins as well. And I cannot imagine a day without my mom's chitlins, and that is pig intestines, by the way. And ever since she passed away in 2018, I haven't had amounts of chitlins since, because I know that the person that can make that happen with the best chitlins and hog moss happens to be my mom. So my dad has been mostly the talking, but back and forth each other like father son. My mom has to be the food.
I should be even more specific. Did you feel like your mom was really proud of you growing up? Like a lot of emphasis was put on achievement?
Oh yes, definitely. Especially with different types of achievement from first grade over to high school and right into college, especially when I graduated with a civil engineering degree at UNLV. And once I'm able to, she always has those proud moments. And those are 3 examples I can give you about being proud of the different accomplishments that I've made. And I'm sure that if she was still alive, she would have been proud of me serving on the board of international directors for Toastmasters.
Definitely. So it's interesting just how you present. You are stating your achievements with pride. You're sharing your story of how your mom was proud of you. I believe that the best fit type, when a person orients with their mother and father, that would be the status seeker, the performer, the achiever, the people who can be self-conscious with their image. I believe that's a lot of Toastmasters, especially myself and yourself, Jesse.
And I agree with you right there, because the status seeker, once you mention that, that is definitely me. And what a good example about this is the office, where I do have lots of accomplishments on my wall here in my home office. So when you say status seeker, that definitely hit the nail right there on the head.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It's so exciting when it's verified by the person that we got it.
Oh, most definitely. And I feel appreciated about it. And it gives me a chance to know myself a little more, as well as fellow Toastmasters in the same process. So this Enneagram has been truly mind blowing.
I also want to share the other two personality types that are most common in the population, and
Okay.
that is the loyalist, who struggles with anxiety, paranoia. They're very skeptical people. And then also the mediator, who can be self-forgetting, overly accommodating, very peacemaking. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, if we look at the celebrities, I feel, of these basic types right here, these top three,
All
for
right.
status seeker, we've got Taylor Swift. Oh, she
Mm-hmm.
loves spotlight.
Oh, yes.
We've got for loyalist, who did I put down? Let me see here. Oh, Prince Harry,
Yep.
just like an everyday kind of guy. And then up here, Bob Ross. Remember?
Of
Happy
course.
Tree?
Happy trees.
Yes, very at peace with the world.
Oh, most definitely. And I tell you, that was truly amazing. And if there is there anyone that you could think of about going over to, if you're using this Enneagram on that you could, if the person was here, gee, I wish someone was here to actually go over this little Enneagram process. And do you have any ideas who I could think about? Or
Oh, are you trying to type someone?
yes, as a matter of fact, I would like to type someone, and who better than the person that's usually right next to me, and that happens to be my beloved spouse, Dana Wall Oakley.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about her?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind talking about my wife.
Is she a lot like you, Jesse? Is she a lot like you?
In a way, she is. As a matter of fact, we're like in each other's minds when we read each other's, having the same thought process. But in
Yeah.
other ways, we can also be different as well, and not just the physical differences of what we look like, but also other differences in how we attach or how we handle different things and situations.
Jesse, let me read the trait of every one of these types, and you can tell me if one of them resonates with her personality.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, for the critic, the Judge Judy type, we've got a rigid, dry, constricted person. Probably not probably not your wife.
No, not at all. No.
I have to tell you, I've dated someone like this. They have a lot of kind of stern father energy.
Oh
Great
yeah.
people too when they're healthy. Okay, here is a common type: the pleaser, the people pleaser, the helper, the rescuer, the giver. They can be overbearing, intrusive, needy.
No, goodness, no. Dana, when I think
Oh,
when I think of needy, Dana doesn't fit that profile.
okay. Okay. Well, it's interesting because you both are very familiar. So I wonder if she could come off that way to other people, but we'll see which one is the best fit here.
All right.
Okay. Status seeker like yourself, self-promoting,
Now,
self-conscious.
now I'll tell you what. Now, a good example about this, and I don't think Dana is more the status seeker than I am, is
Sure.
the 2015 convention where we had in Las Vegas, and where Dana is more into the field type of stuff. The field general is she's basically looks at the number, looks at the checklist, make sure the volunteers are on time to take to their next direction. While I'm more out in the field, meeting up with fellow Toastmasters. So she's more like the staff general, and I'm the field general, if that's the best way to describe it.
Interesting. Yes, now I'm thinking like possibly differences. Hmm. Yeah, so the Enneagram is for core motivation, core fear. It's not the behavior, it's the reason behind the behavior.
Right.
So I'm glad you bring that up.
Yes. So I think Dana's more of that, where I'm more of the spotlight type person, and
Mhm.
Dana's more the analytical type, and that
Oh,
she has the analytical type, and she's basically one that keeps me on my toes, being a right brain and everything.
interesting. Okay. Will you say that she's analytical? I mean, it's possible she could be here, the tragic romantic. They're vulnerable. This is the most rare type. They're the artist with the artist temperament, moody,
Oh,
tumultuous.
that could
Yeah,
be it. That could
that's really interesting.
that definitely could be it because she's also has an artistic format with she has a 3D puzzles and she also has a paint area in her office, so she could definitely be creative. So that definitely sounds like in the ballpark.
So just because a person is creative, though, doesn't necessarily mean that they are a type 4.
Yeah.
It's like Johnny Depp. This is the archetype for the tragic romantic.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
How interesting. And their childhood experience is they felt like an outsider in their own family growing up.
Well, I want to say outside of your own family, but myself. Let's use high school thing. I'm more of the type of group type of person in high school, and Dana's more the by herself type of personality.
Okay. Yeah, we can speculate on what her Enneagram type is, but until we talk to her, we don't know for sure.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Okay.
it also gives a good understanding too, where we both fit in the Enneagram.
Exactly. Yes, and it's very common for people to misidentify themselves, to mistype themselves.
Right.
So, like I said, when you feel embarrassed, it's likely that you've hit the type. I'll give more resources later on how to make sure that you verified your type correctly because it's very easy to mistype and it can take years actually to be absolutely sure of your core type.
Understood. 100% understood. Yeah, this has been quite the experience. My goodness, we're having a chance to know myself and get an understanding of myself and my wife and the relationship between the two of us. And I got to say that this is quite handy and very interesting. And I really appreciate this, Ashley. Oh my goodness.
We are almost there. We're about halfway through the circle here.
All right, let's do it. Let's complete it.
Okay, now for the observer. So they are preoccupied, they're detached, they're argumentative, cynical, they're disconnected from their mother in childhood. Now, it's very rare for a woman to be this type,
Right.
but it's possible.
It's possible for not her, but it's
Okay,
possible for other people I can think about.
absolutely. Okay, now we're over here, back to the loyal skeptic, Prince Harry. They are irritable, tense, cranky during everyday stress. And it just so happened that their childhood experience was they had some sort of absent father, typically.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
very common, though, frankly, because people have all sorts of childhood experiences, but whichever one is most prominent to the childhood's temperament will be the best fit childhood wound.
Exactly. Wow.
I
I,
know, I know someone who's a loyalist.
uh-huh.
Oh, such a community builder. He's very neurotic, very prone to negative emotion very easily, but he is such a rock that you can depend on, so responsible and trustworthy. Amazing person.
Yes, and I'm thinking of other people as well that could fit that category that I see them in my everyday life. Like, oh, this is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It gives you a lot of grace when you understand where people are coming from, their unique worldview, because their experience of life may be very different from yours.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. All right, what's the next one on the circle?
Over here, we have the optimist who has restless energy. They're prone to having addiction to stimulant drugs because nothing is stimulating enough.
Oh
They
yeah,
tend to be disconnected from their mother. They were supposedly neglected by their mother in childhood.
yeah. Actually, there's some people I do know from that type as well, and that's from my past, from many years ago. And I was in an environment where you have some people that didn't have that love from their parents and they want to have that stimulant. So I could definitely see that happening with some people I do know.
It's interesting because these are the type of people will look back on their childhood and think, "Oh, I had an awesome childhood," because they really look at the entire world with such rose-colored glasses. Even if they're
Yeah,
about to be homeless, they're like, "Oh no, everything's going to work out fine." That's how they think.
exactly. And that sounds quite familiar, especially now. I don't know if it's a connection, but also stoicism too, where it's not just what happens to you, it's how you react to it. And if you react to it in a certain way, then, like, for example, a positive way, you can still just keep going and keep doing the best that you can. That's what it sounds like to me.
That could very well be it. It's just a challenge sometimes because these people, they just can't get enough. They're prone to gambling, things like this, because they just need more excitement, more novelty, more variety.
Oh, definitely. And which one's the next one on the circle?
Okay, the second to the last one, I know someone like this, the protector. They were the father figure as a child. So they're like a super adult. They're
Oh,
dominating in just every day. Like Andrew Tate.
oh my goodness! I could tell you right now that I know family members. Forget the people out of my past, but family members like could be seen as protectors. And for me, it's like a when I was a kid, I thought I didn't have the power, but then as soon as I grow up, the protectors can get quite annoying.
So they would not come off as an, well, at least it depends on their health level. So if they're immature, they're bullies. But if they're developed and they're mature, then they are just such protective people who look out for other people. They have such a big heart, but it's under this tough exterior.
Oh, yes, definitely. I could definitely relate to that type of stuff. And which one is the last one?
Last but not least, our Bob Ross type, the mediator, the peacemaker, one of the most common types. They're self forgetting and they happen to be connected with both their mom and dad growing up.
Good, very good. Now, I'll tell you what, those 9 Enneagrams, they make a big difference. And let's have a question. If you were to meet someone who's interested in knowing more about Enneagram, what would you tell that person? Where could you have that person go?
That's great. If you like YouTube, type in You've Got a Type. Check out that channel. If you
Okay.
want text, I highly recommend Enneagram Institute, and they have excellent information by different typologists I trust. Those two sources are excellent.
All right. Thank you very much for the information. And I have the next question I will share with you is shout outs. Now, is there anyone? Now, what I like to do on my show is allow people to actually have shout outs. Now, if you could just talk to anybody out there, who would you like to give a shout out to for getting you to the whole Enneagram scene?
Thank you. I have a bunch of influencers I follow, and I want to shout out to some of the most amazing content creators because there are a lot, but especially these ones. Dr. Tom LaHue, for
Hmm.
his YouTube channel, he gives such perceptive, thorough descriptions on all the types. And we didn't even go into subtypes, Jesse. The
Hmm.
27 subtypes with their instinct stack, that's very important. I want to give a shout out to Enneagram Girl, who gives really insightful content as well, and Jennifer Brave, who I had the privilege of coaching with on the Enneagram. Love these wonderful influencers.
Wow. Now, that's another question I have for you. Now, this question is for the people that are watching this show right now. And these people are my people, and they're called the happy people. If you could offer any words of wisdom for my people, the happy people, regarding this topic of Enneagram, what would it be?
Yes, words of wisdom. Well, like we mentioned before, it's so easy to mistype. So I would go on Enneagram Institute and compare the type you believe you are with all the other possible types by checking out misidentifications. I would also look into instinct stack, which I mentioned. Now, just to go over that, there's 3 basic instincts:
All right.
self-preservation, which is health and material security. We've got social instinct, which is a fixation on community status. And finally, we actually got the sexual instinct, which is the most rare, and it's a fixation on attracting mates. So every one of these 9 types, they've got 3 subtypes each, and one of those instincts will be blind. So for myself, and I think many Toastmasters, We are social blind. So we've repressed that instinct and we've instead allocated our energy to the other instincts.
Oh my.
Yeah, can I unpack any of that was unclear?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Finally, health level. You'll see the levels of health when you learn more about the Enneagram. You can see where you're at. Typically, we're at the average level now that we're beyond adolescence. And when you get stressed, you disintegrate into, for us threes, for us achievers, we can become numb, complacent, dismissive of everything in the world. We're shut down. But when we're integrated into higher levels of health, we actually don't care what other people think about us because we just care about helping other people. That's with all these types. They forget about themselves and all they care about is about contributing to others. Although the pleaser is different because they tend to be codependent, so they're kind of special in that way.
Mm-hmm.
They love themselves too. They include themselves in the love.
That is true. That is true. And Ashley, I got to tell you, thank you very much because your information on Enneagram has really opened up my mind and really opened up myself on who I could possibly be within those circles of 9. And I got to tell you, and on behalf of the Happy People, we thank you for your time and wisdom and sharing the information on Enneagram. This means a big deal, and I thank you for that.
Jesse, you said something interesting. Who you can be, who you are is already within you. We just have to uncover and integrate and get back into restoration, the balance of the essence of who we were, who we are born into.
Oh my goodness. And what a perfect way to bookmark this wonderful interview. And on behalf of myself and the Happy People, we thank you for actually hipping us to the Enneagram scene. Ashley, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right. And this concludes this episode of the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. If you want more information, please check out what Ashley just mentioned with YouTube and all the other links that are available. And I'm sure that this is going to be very interesting to go into Enneagram. And on behalf of everybody that's here, I wish all of you a fantastic Sunday, and you take care of yourselves and each other, Happy People. Until next time, see you later. Bye.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.